Hello, everyone. It's 8 o'clock in the evening in the Philippine Standard Time. So, good evening or magandang gabi to all my fellow Filipinos. Good morning and good afternoon to the other participants from the other parts of the world who are with us in tonight's session. Welcome to IGP's 228th Free International Webinar. Thank you so much for joining with us in this wonderful session. Once again, I am your host, Mr. Rian Jun P. Qualing from Aklan, Philippines, and I will be in charge for tonight's activity. I am a senior high school mathematics teacher of Baton Academy, a national school in the Department of Education, Division of Aklan, Philippines, and it is a great honor and privilege to be in the IGP as one of its consistent webinar hosts and, of course, to be one of the 1,000 active members around the globe. It is my delight to welcome you all in this institution of global professionals, free international webinar, and I hope everyone will stay active to participate in our activities later on, especially in our IGP quiz, for you to have a chance of winning an e-certificate. And before we continue, you may like and comment while our webinar is going on. Please tag, share, and mention your friends in the comment box so that we can be able to share with them the knowledge that our speaker will impart to us tonight. In this virtual world, we can watch together and learn together. The events and activities that IGP provide to us, dear participants, is one of the proofs that pandemic does not just bring challenges and difficulties in life, but also it offers a lot of opportunities for us to grow professionally. For the new members, let me give some backgrounds about IGP. IGP stands for Institute of Global Professionals, and it is an ISO certified education institute and has certified trainings and webinars that is reflected in the e-certificate that each participant will receive after attending every session. And it is recognized internationally and globally accredited to more than 100 countries. IGP is a leading online skill development institute with thousands of learners worldwide. IGP serves the whole communities by providing holistic social work and education to help build a world with a strong foundation of education and life skills. IGP gives opportunities accessible for every knowledge seeker to gain mastery of skills, to develop personality, and to become more goal oriented, to strengthen confidence in facing circumstances in life, and to enhance skills by inviting great speakers and professionals from other parts of the world. The organization believes that skills development is not only gained through a formal education, so IGP offers free virtual training, consultation to young professionals who are willing to learn, improve, and embrace changes. IGP organizes webinars, trainings, both offline and online courses with the best and highly trained speakers and coaches from all corners of the world to create a best learning platform for all of us, dear participants. So before we continue, again, please share, tag, comment, and mention your friends in the comment box. It also serves as your support to our organization. And of course, participants who will be joining this free international webinar will receive an e-certificate that later on they can be able to use it in their professional promotion. Today, we are presenting the 228th free international webinar series entitled Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment Part 4. And I think this is the last part of a webinar series Part 2. And we will be enlightened by our speaker from Indonesia, who will be introduced later as she delivers her speech or lecture. Meanwhile, dear participants, you can take down your questions and queries about the topic that she will be discussing and reserve it later to our question and answer so that you can be able to address it to our speaker later on. And I think it's now the time to start our program. Okay, without a long introduction, our speaker is a General Secretary of Lecturer Association across universities, and she is from Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give a virtual applause to Miss Atika Sumala Diwi.
Okay, thank you for your question, for your changes, for your occasion to give me. the chance to introduce myself first. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening from Indonesia. From Indonesia, good evening, and maybe from around the world. And there is good morning and good afternoon. You can drop your greeting through the comments. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Atika Kumaladewi. You can call me Miss Atika because I haven't got married yet, so you can call me Miss. And then I have just now pursued my education, our bachelor degree, and now I'm a general secretary of lecturer association across university in Indonesia. And then also I'm now assistant of professor in Canberra University. And then yeah, there is my this is my time to give you my view and my side about yeah, the knowledge, especially for the TEFL and assessment. So well, ladies and gentlemen, would I like to share my screen? Can I share my screen?
Yeah, you can now share your screen, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So we just wait a moment. Okay, now I will share. Okay, everybody, can you access this? Everyone?
Yeah, it's already
Okay,
on the
good.
screen,
So
ma'am.
okay, good. Thank you. So, teaching English as a foreign language and assessment, well, ladies and gentlemen. So, first of all, yeah, we will have two discussion today. Again, I will not be your one only source here today, but I will be as a partner as for discussion this session. I'm your partner. So if you have any other ideas or any comments or any question related to this our discussion today, this evening, you can easily and you can please drop your comment, your opinion or your question. All right. So the first is about teaching English as a foreign language and assessment. Okay. First of all, we need to know about what is the first, what is the second, what is the foreign language. Of course, first language, anyone who wants to learn method of teaching English as a foreign language, or we used to know about TEFL, needs to be familiar with the following basic terms. There are mother tongue, native tongue or native language, and the first language. So mother tongue, which means the language of mother, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, which refer to the language of the native of the mother. I'm so sorry, because it's assumed that the language which the firstly learned by a child is the language of his or her mother, isn't it? Okay, we come to the second. Native tongue or native language, everybody, which refer to the language of the native people surrounding the newborn child. And it is also assumed that the first language learned by a child is the language used by the native people in his or her surrounding. And the last, the definition about the first language or L1. We used to know in written English is the language one or L1. It is used as short from or an alternative for the term first language, everybody, ladies and gentlemen. So, from the definition stated above, we can say that the first language of child is maybe in Indonesia, there is a custom Maduranese, there is a Japanese, Sundanese. So, in Indonesia, for Indonesian people, when the child born, they need to learn at least three languages. The first is their mother tongue, which is the local language. And then the second is Bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian language, or here is the national language here. And the third is maybe they are sent to the school for before you can say kindergarten. They they learn about the foreign language, which mean English as a foreign language here in Indonesia. So that's about the definition about the first language, ladies and gentlemen. So we come to the second language, ladies and gentlemen. Second language can simply mean the language learned after the first, ladies and gentlemen, in order. in the sense someone may have the first language. For example, Japanese is in Indonesia for the local custom language in and Bahasa Indonesia as the second language, and the third language maybe English, fourth language maybe German, and so forth. Fifth language or or etc. so forth. However, the term second language implies that this language is usually learned after puberty, ladies and gentlemen, or the language is used as a national language. For example, the language which is used for formal communication or used as a medium of instruction. The Indonesian language for many Indonesians is a second language because it is learned after the first language or the mother tongue, which is ethnic or a local language. And in an English context, English is in Singapore, maybe in the Philippines, maybe Malaysia or India, is categorized as second language, ladies and gentlemen, because English is the national language or at that countries. Or at least it is widely used these countries. English in England, Australian or US is a second language for the immigrant, Immigrant whose the first language is not English. Maybe as we all know in Philadelphia, in Philadelphia, there are so many immigrants from Arab or from Middle East who came from there, and then they earn the second language English, but and the first language their first language is Arabic, right? That the definition and the difference between the first language and the second language. So we come to the foreign language now. Okay, for foreign language may mean the same as a second language in this sense that the language is learned after the first language, ladies and gentlemen. The difference between a second language and foreign language is that a second language is used as a national language, whereas the foreign language is not, ladies and gentlemen. Foreign language is only found in a classroom where the language is being learned. English in Indonesia found in a classroom. Sorry, English is Indonesia. Indonesian in Australia or Sundanese in Java is a foreign language in that area, ladies and gentlemen. Although there is a similarity, for example, not the first language, between the second language and a foreign language, ladies and gentlemen, the level of mastery and the two types of language may be different, which is due to the existence of second language in learner's surrounding. That's about the definition about the first, second, and the foreign language, because we need to know about that one, because we will have the discussion of all. Okay, we come to now we know what now we discuss about what is NSL, ESL, and EFL. Uh, ENL stand for English as a native, ladies and gentlemen. ENL found in England, in the US, and in the New Zealand, and then maybe for the US, yeah. And then ESL stands for English a second language. As I mentioned in the previous time, in the previous slide, maybe English as a second language is implied in the Philippines, in the Malaysia, maybe in Singapore, or in India, maybe something like that. That's the second language. So English is their national language. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I make mistakes in this theory. And then we come to is SL is found in Singapore, Malaysia, Brunei Darussalam, India, in the Philippines, or in the English-speaking countries for those. For example, for immigrant. For those for immigrant, I say for immigrant. And then whose first language is not English. Immigrant whose the first language is not English. And then EFL stands for English as foreign language. English is Indonesia is a foreign language. So English EFL in Indonesia is a foreign language, something like that. But it is found in Indonesia, Thailand, Japan, China, Korea, is a foreign language. If I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I I am mistaken. Okay, we come to the following. That is, what is the difference between TSL and TEFL, TESOL, and TAIL? Ladies and gentlemen, these abbreviations are often used in the area of English teaching method. So, if this one we call the name of the English itself, but the one here is the some kind of the teaching. Those are area of teaching, ladies and gentlemen. TESOL stands for Teaching English as a Second Language, while TEFL stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, and TESOL stands for Teaching English to speaker of other languages, something like that. So we come the big concept of language skill and components. You know what is a language skill and what are language skill and what are components of English? You can drop easily through the comment box, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, in language teaching method, we have term language skill and components. Language skill are listening, writing, reading, and you know, listening, writing, reading, and speaking, ladies and gentlemen. While components are the components of English itself, as like grammar, pronunciation, and any other related to those kind of connected to those kind of components, ladies and gentlemen. So what we need to know here is about group of language skill, ladies and gentlemen. The first is passive skill that human beings human being acquired. Is passive. It is listening and reading, and the second is about active. Active skills are speaking and writing. So you cannot speak if you if you cannot speak well if you are not used to with listening. In this case, is English, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you cannot write well, academic, well, it is anything, it is whether it is academic or it is the casual writing, you cannot write well if you are not used to read this kind of the language. In this case is English, right? So if you want to have English certification as like TOEFL or as like IELTS or as like GRA, GMAT, be used to first for the passive skill. Maybe you can listen, maybe you can read first related to the examination. There are a lot of searches available on YouTube and Google, so you can download it. You can be used to with it through this kind of application, ladies and gentlemen. And then when you have a passive skills, when you are used to with the passive skill, used to by the passive skill, absolutely, I guarantee you can you can produce your active skill as like speaking and writing. That's why in IELTS tests there are listening tests, speaking tests, reading tests, writing tests, because they are connected each other. Language skills. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So we come to the following. Okay, the following discussion. Of course, we need to know about what is language centered, what is learning centered, what is learner centered method. There are methods actually, ladies and gentlemen. When we need to perform our teaching in front of our student, we need to decide before we come to the class. We need to decide which method that we need to apply in our class, ladies and gentlemen, something like that. Okay, various language teaching methods have been developed for TESOL and TEFL. And then the method into three. The method into three groups. I take this kind of theory from Kumara Davilu. the method he classifies the method into three types. The first is language centered method, learning centered method, and learner centered method. What is learner centered method? Okay, learner centered method focus on what to teach. Remember what to teach. Before you go to the classroom, you need to know, and then you need to decide the method. Language-centered method is what to teach. They seek to provide opportunities for learners to provide pre-selected, ladies and gentlemen, pre-sequenced in linguistic structure through from focus exercise, asserting that a preoccupation with from will automatically lead to the second language mastery. The teacher's task is to introduce grammatical structure and vocabulary items, one, at the time, and help learners practice them until they internalize the second language system. Included in this method are grammar translation or GTM, if you are familiar with, and then direct method or DM, a reading method or EM, and audiolingual method or ILM. Okay, you can drop you can drop which one do you use often. Is it a GTM, DM, or AM, or ILM? You can drop through the comment box, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, those methods emergence chronologically, beginning with GTM, ladies and gentlemen. And then we come to the second discussion, that is learning-centered method. It focus on how to teach. Remember, how to teach. So we focus on the measurement. We focus on our material. We focus on our, our delivery, something like that. And then they seek to provide opportunities for learners also to participate in open-ended, meaningful in interaction through language learning tasks, assuming that preoccupation with meaning making will ultimately lead to the second language mastery, ladies and gentlemen. The teacher responsibility is to create condition in which learner engage in meaningful problem posing or problem solving activities, something like that. So the teacher give some cases to their student, and then their student need to decide whether the best solution for the case that their teacher has given to them, something like that. For example, of this group are the silent way, or Getekno, or Suggestopedia, or Lazanov, or Total Physical Sport, or Other, and Natural Approach, or Crescent and Travel. Terrell. And counseling learning method, or community language learning, or CHURM. And this method as a designer of methods, because Nunan, linguistic scientist named Nunan, labeled this method as a designer method. They emerged simultaneously in 1970s in response to some weaknesses of ALM. Something like that, ladies and gentlemen. ALM, or audiolingual method. So the last, we need to know about the definition or the theory about learner-centered method. So it focuses on who is learning. So we need to know who is our student, who is what are they need, something like that. So we focus on our student, we focus on our learner, ladies and gentlemen. And this learner-centered method seek to provide opportunities for learners to practice pre-selected, pre-sequenced linguistic features and communicative notion through function-focused activities, assuming that the preoccupation with the form and function will ultimately lead to the second language mastery, ladies and gentlemen. Again, our achievement here for those method is second language mastery, ladies and gentlemen. And the teacher starts to introduce formal and functional items at one time and help learners practice them until they internalize what? The second language system. And the method belonging to this group is communicative language teaching, ladies and gentlemen. So, maybe when you have learners, when you have students that they are they are workers, so you need to know their need, ladies and gentlemen. You need to know their focus. Don't give them all of your syllabus or all of your lesson plans. You just need to focus on them. What are they need? That's why in learner centered method, what you need is just some kind of discussion first before you conduct the class, something like that, ladies and gentlemen. And then the last, okay, we come to language center with language center method. Who teach? Okay, what teach? Oh, sorry, what teach? Okay, there is grammar translation method or GTM, and then there are also direct method or GDM, as I mentioned previously, and the reading method and audiolingual method, and of course, again, there is cognitive method and then elective method. Okay, you can drop easily. What is what method do you like to conduct to your class, or what your learners? We can later on we can have the Q&A, and we will have discussion. So you can, if you have any opinion or any suggestion or any question related to this method, you can briefly drop out your comments in the box comment. Okay, so what we need to know now is about assessment, ladies and gentlemen. So what is assessment, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think about assessment? Assessment in teaching English as a foreign language, yeah? In this case, is teaching English as a foreign language. Do not make the discussion wider because we have discussion. Our case today is teaching English as a foreign language. And then, okay, you can drop your comment. You can drop your idea to the box. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Okay, 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 good, very good. Okay, thank you. We need to go on. So what is a task, ladies and gentlemen? What is a task? You can drop your ideas, your opinion to the chat, or chat column, comments box. Okay, what is a task? Okay, this one. This is the answer actually. A task is simple method measuring a person's ability, knowledge, or performance in a given domain. So we have here the keywords, ladies and gentlemen. The keyword is a task, of course, because that is our discussion in the whole discussion, right? A task here. And then there is also method. We have also measuring as our keywords. And then we have also here ability, or a person's ability, knowledge, performance. And we have also here the keywords about given domain. What are they mean? What are they meaning? So method. So a task is a simple method measuring a person's ability, knowledge, or performance in a given domain, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the components of this definition. A task is the first, a method. Okay, a task is the first, a method. It is an instrument or a set of techniques, procedure, or terms that requires performance on the part of the task taker, ladies and gentlemen. To qualify as a task, the method must be explicit and structured. So the second, a task must be measured. A task must be measured, or a task must be measuring. I'm sorry. A task must be measuring. Some tests measure general ability, while others focus on very specific competencies or objectives, ladies and gentlemen. A multi-scale proficiency test determines a general ability level, and then while some tests, such as classroom-based short answer easy test, maybe you have given those kind of a test for your student or for your learners, and then okay, it is particularly large-scale standardized tests. Okay. What do you think about tasks, ladies and gentlemen, for the method? So, okay, I will give my opinion again. If an instrument does not specify the form of reporting measurement, then that unit cannot appropriately be defined as a task, ladies and gentlemen. So remember, next, a task measures an individual's ability, knowledge, or performance. Tester need to understand who the task taker are. What is their previous experience and background? And is the task appropriate to their abilities? Or how should the task taker interpret their scores? Something like that, ladies and gentlemen. So before you conduct a test for a student or learner, you need to know about what I have learned, what I have explained to you before, and this previously. A test measures performance, but the result imply the test taker's ability, or to use concept common in the field of linguistic competence, ladies and gentlemen. Most language tests measure one's ability to perform language, that is to speak, to write, to read, and to listen, to a subset of language. On the other hand, it is common to find tasks designed to a grammatical rules, or identifying them, the grammatical rules, I mean. Theoretical features in a written or discourse, or a discourse, I mean, English discourse. And then finally, a task measures a given domain. Yeah, a task measures a given domain. In the case of proficiency test, even though the actual performance on the task involves only a sampling of skills, the domain is overall proficiency in a language or general competencies, ladies and gentlemen. So, and then other tests may have more specific criteria. A well-constructed test is an instrument that provides an accurate measure of the test taker's ability within a particular domain. The definition sounds fairly simple, but in fact, in fact, the construction or the constructing a good test is a complex text involving both science and art. So we need to connect it. Both science and art become one before we conduct a test. We just talk about tests here in this case. So, ladies and gentlemen, we go on to the next slide. What is assessment and what is teaching? I give you 1 minute to drop your answers through the comment box. You can give, or you can spread out your ideas. What is assessment? What is teaching, especially teaching English? How is this assessment of English? How do we teach our student effectively? So you can spread your opinion through the column chat or column box. Okay, comment box. And then, okay, we will discuss it because the time is up. 1 minute is up, right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, assessment is a popular and some it's a popular. Sorry, assessment is a very popular and sometimes misunderstood in terms of current education now practice. You might be attempt to think of testing and assessing as anonymous term, but they are not. They are not actually. The tests are prepared administrative procedure that occurs at in identifiable times in a curriculum when learners master all their faculties to over peak performance, knowing their responses are being measured and evaluated. Assessment, or on the other hand, assessment is an ongoing process that encompasses in much wider domain. Whenever the student respond to a question, over a comment, or try out the new word or structure, and the teacher subconsciously makes an assessment of the student's performance. So, ladies and gentlemen, do you always assess your student when you conduct a classroom? And then do you always do you always measure your student when you conduct your Q&A with your student? Do you always give your student feedback when they are performing to the class, or maybe for example when they are giving their comments, when they are giving you some kind of their opinion? Do you always give them feedback, ladies and gentlemen? I'm sure this is a big question for us as educator, or as English resource, or as English lecturer maybe. And then tests are a subset of assessment, ladies and gentlemen. So test is a tool of the assessment. They are connected each other. We cannot assess our student with if we don't have a task. If just performance, it is not enough for assessing them, right? That's why we need a task. We need to know about the performance also. We need to know about their ideas, their opinions, their output after we give them input. In this case, is English, right? So that's a big question for us as educator. Okay, they are. I mean, the tasks. The tasks are certainly not only form of assessment that the teacher can make. Can make Tasks can be useful. Device can be useful. Can be our useful device. But remember, a task is not only one among many procedure and tasks that teachers can ultimately use to assess the student. So again, we don't need to have only we don't need to only have some kind of a task. Maybe this is my own experience when I was in school, high school, maybe when I was a kid, when I was in elementary school, senior high school, or a junior high school, or even in in a college life. I had once a teacher or a lecturer or an educator who who never give us a material. We just give us the task. So I think at that time I just got, oh okay, well I just say to myself, oh, okay, later on when I am a teacher, when I become a teacher, I will not let my class empty. I will not let my class just small talk, and it's not a discussion. At least when you are an educator or teacher, maybe ladies and gentlemen, when you are educator or teacher and you must leave your class, you need to give them some kind of issues, some kinds of a debate that they will debate to those issues or to those debates, some kind of themes, even though you are not in the class, something like that, ladies and gentlemen. So you need to assess them. It's not only a task, you need to assess them also in their performance during the class, based on this book, based on this theory about assessment and teaching. So Okay. But now, okay. But now, you might be thinking for those kind of issues for theory that I connect to the issues. Maybe you are now thinking, if you make assessment every time you teach something in the classroom, then does all teaching involve assessment, some kind of like that? Or are teacher constantly assessing student with no interaction, that is assessment free, or some kind of like that? Okay, the answer is depends on your perspective as educator, because as educator we cannot just after graduating from high school, maybe we cannot just directly become a teacher, directly become an official teacher or official lecturer, right? We must pass some kind of a degree like undergraduate degree or master degree, even doctoral degree, before we become a teacher, an official, yeah, I say an official teacher or an official lecturer or even official professor. We need to pass all degrees. That's why from those degrees I'm sure that has everyone must be passed for the some kind of process called course, unit, maybe modules, maybe some kind of seminar, webinar, those kind, and their friends related to the, maybe it is boring for you, maybe it's not for you. For some people it is boring. We need to conduct course, we need to have this kind of teaching, learning, something like that. That is boring. But I'm sure when you are when you like the when you like teaching, when you like transferring knowledge to the other people, and the people that you are transferring to can be broaden their knowledge, can be good, can be conduct their life good, maybe it will become our 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 personal proud, right? So that's why, again, do not conduct something that you don't like with, you don't like in, something like that, ladies and gentlemen. I will. Okay, the answer depends on your perspective. Again, this is your perspective. For optional learning to take place, student in the classroom must have the freedom to experiment, try out their own hypothesis about language. Again, this case is English language, about language without feeling that their overall competencies is being judged. So in this case, besides I'm the assistant of associate professor in Cambridge University, I'm also a teacher of platform English course. But some kind of, I always give my student case, I always give my students some kind of debate that for speaking, yeah, for speaking, this is for speaking assessment. I always give them the debate, I always give them the issue while I conduct my class, and I don't give them information that they are being judged at the time. So I can get the natural performance, I can get the natural value, I can get the natural scores of them, especially in a specific speaking skill, English speaking skill, ladies and gentlemen. So you need to decide also how your student cannot feel that they are being judged for you as your educator, or as their as or sorry, as their educators, or as their assessor, ladies and gentlemen. So you can get the natural score, the natural value of your students. Okay. uh, in term of in terms of those trials and errors, okay, so you will have the natural one for your data analysis, for your data maybe. Okay, teaching set up the practice game of language learning, the opportunities for learners to listen, to think, to take risks, to set goals, and to process feedback from the coach, and then the to recycle through the skill that they are trying to master. Okay, and then at the same time, during the practice activities, teachers or educators or assessors are indeed observing student performance and making various evaluation of each learner. Again, you need I think, in my opinion, teachers or educators or even lecturers in English teaching, I think they are as like doctor. So we need to diagnose, we need to analyze, we need to decide, we need to give them feedback about related to their problems, to their errors, to their absolute proud. Of course, we just for the feedback. We don't need to always give them the problems, their error, something like that. So once again, I give you the recommendation. Please, one time, maybe you need to uh deliver your proud about your student. Even your students are really don't have positive, don't have a good in English, you need to motivate them, you need to give them their advantage. Okay, maybe I give you the example of the case. Maybe your students is very difficult to learn, is very difficult to be inputted, as like they cannot speak very well. So maybe when you give them motivation, okay, you are actually good, but I think you need to improve yourself because your pronunciation is very good enough. Maybe I think maybe you can say like that, even though their pronunciation is totally wrong. It's totally, totally misunderstood. So you need to uh make them interested to you first. Make them interested in you first by giving them a appraisal, or by delivering your proud to them, even though they don't have advantages in their learning, something like that. Because so far I know, psychological human when human are accepting, when some people or a person is accepting compliment by another person, they will be interested, they will be happy, and they will be interested for those who gives them a compliment, or for those who gives them their positive ways, you know. Yeah, you can interest your student by this kind of method. You can motivate them, and then try to make them interest to you, as like giving them a prize or something like that, the positive way of themselves. That's the duty of a teacher or lecturer or educators. We need to interest our student. Okay. Uh okay. I have question again. Instead of those kind of method, also I give you the method. How did this question brings you to interact your student? How did the performance compare to the previous performance? How which aspect of the performance were better than others? You need to have evaluation of yourself after you teach, after you draw your conclusion, after you draw your assessment from your student. And then does the performance compare to that of others in the some learning communities or in the ideal classroom? All this a brief observation fit into the way the teacher provides instruction to the student. The keywords is always be good for your student, even though your student are really the most naughty people in this world. Just be good to them. Just give them smile, give them your love, give them your love, give them your best, give them always compliment before you give them your comments, before you give them your perspective, your negative perspective or your honest perspective to them. Make sure that you deliver your proud first to them. So that's about the perspective, about our perspective. Okay, so now we come to the informal and formal assessment. What is informal? What is a formal assessment, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think about informal and formal assessment? You can drop your answer briefly through comment box. Okay, very good. Okay, let's figure out together what are they mean. Okay, informal and formal assessment, ladies and gentlemen. One way to begin untangling a lexical conundrum by distinguishing among the tasks. Assessment and teaching is to distinguish informal and formal assessment. What is informal assessment? Okay, it takes the number of forms starting with incidental, unplanned comments and responses, along with the coaching and other impromptu feedback to the students. For the example, saying nice, good job, did you say can or can't? And then you can also say putting you can also put a smile on some students homework when your students collect or submit their homework through some kind of written text. You can seek you can put a small smile, and then you can give them compliment. Okay, that's good, very job, I think you need to improve yourself, something like that. And then that's about informal assessment. And we come to formal assessment. What is formal assessment? But okay, I forgot informal assessment. Okay, it does not stop there. A good deal of for informal statement is when the teacher's informal assessment is embedded in classroom tasks designed to elicit performance without recording results and making fixed judgment about the students' competencies, something like that. Examples at this discussion are marginal comments on papers or responding to a draft of an essay, advice about how to better pronounce a word, suggestion for strategy for compensating for reading difficulties, and showing how to modify the student note taking to better remember content of lecture or content of the teaching learning activities, something like that. You can also say give your student some kind of informal assessment, ladies and gentlemen. And then on the other hand, formal assessment are exercise or procedure specifically designed to tap into a storehouse of skills and knowledge. They are systematic, planned, and sampling techniques constructed to give teacher and student an appraisal of student achievement, something like that, ladies and gentlemen. So, is the question is formal assessment the same as the task? Actually, we can say that all formal assessment, but not all formal assessment is testing, ladies and gentlemen. For example, you might use a student's journal or portfolio for materials as a formal assessment of entire entertainment or certain course objectives. But it is not problematic to call those two procedures a test. I mean, a test. It's a systematic test of abbreviation. Sorry, a systematic test of observation of a student's frequency of oral participation in a class is certainly a formal assessment, ladies and gentlemen. But remember, it is hardly what anyone would call a task. Tasks are usually relatively time constrained and draw on a limited sample of behavior. So from now on, you can you can decide what is informal assessment for your student, what formal assessment for your student, but those are connected each other. You cannot just conduct a formal assessment for a student. Again, do not just uh, just come to the class and then suddenly you give them tasks in the end of the semester. You give them a task. That's formal assessment. No, you need to also assess them by or through informal assessment, like I have explained previously. Okay, so now we come to formative and summative, ladies and gentlemen. So what is formative? What is summative assessment? You can drop your ideas, you can drop your opinion through the column box or to the comment box, maybe. Okay, very good. Okay, thank you. So let's figure out together what are they. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, another useful distinction to bear in mind is the function of assessment. How is the procedure to be used to function are commonly identified in the literature is are formative and summative assessment. Most of our classroom assessment is formative assessment. Yes, most of our classroom. Exactly. It is evaluating student in the process of in the process of forming their competencies and skills with the goals of helping them to continue that growth process, ladies and gentlemen. The key is to such information is the delivery by the teacher and internalization by the student of appropriate feedback on performance with an eye towards the future continuation or formation of learning. Okay? For all practical purposes, virtually all kinds of informal assessment are should be formative. They are as their primary focus the ongoing development of learners' language. So when you give the students a comment or a suggestion or a call attention to an e-word, that feedback is overt in order to improve the learner's language ability. So sometimes you need to give them some kind of feedback. The feedback is to over in order to improve the learner's language ability, ladies and gentlemen. So we come to summative assessment. It aims to measure or summarize what a student has grasped, and typically occurs at the end um, of a course, or sorry, at the end of a course or unit of instruction. A summarization or a summary of what students has learned implies looking back and taking stock of how well the student has accomplished objective, but does not necessarily point the way to the future progress. Final exam in a course and general proficiency exam are examples of summative assessment. Okay, so we come to the last of our discussion today. What is from reference and criteria reference test, ladies and gentlemen? So I give you some time to drop your answer through the comment box. What is norm referenced test? What is criterion reference test? Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. So let's figure out. Another dichotomy that is important to clarify here that aids in sorting out common terminology in assessment is the distinction between norm-referenced and criterion reference tasks, ladies and gentlemen. Each test taker score is interpreted in a relation to a mean or a reference score, in a median or a middle score, or a standard deviation or extent of variance in scores, or percentile ranks if it is possible. The purpose in such tests is to place test takers along a mathematical continuum in a rank order. Scores are usually reported back test taker in a forms of a numerical scores. For example, 230 out of 300, 230 out of 300. And percentile rank such as 84 such as yes 84 out of 84% of the total number, which means that the test taker scores was higher than 84% of the total number of the test taker, but lower than 16% in that administration. Okay, typically of non-reference tests are standardized tests like scholastic aptitude tests, or you can if you are familiar with that, or test of English as a foreign language or TOEFL tests. So that's about norm reference tests. So we come to criterion reference tests. What is the meaning of criterion reference tests? Okay, it is designed to give test taker feedback, usually in the form of grades or specific course or lesson objectives. Classroom tests involving the student in only one class and connected to a curriculum that are typical of criterion reference tests, or you can say the final exam of at the end of your semester. That's the example of criterion reference test. Our final exam at the end of the semester. So thank you for today. I think that's all from me. Is there any question? I give back to the moderator. Thank you for the time.
Okay. Uh, Thank you so much, Miss Atika, for that very insightful presentation. And thank you so much also for sharing your expertise on the importance of teaching English as a foreign language and how it should be taught, how it should be assessed, and how it should be tested. Okay. And before we proceed to the next, let me share to you some of the notes that I have learned through the discussion of Miss Attica. Of course, she differentiated the three languages: the mother tongue, the national language, and the foreign language, and also the differences between the TESL, the TEFL, the TESOL, and the TEYL. And one of the notes that I can relate here is that um, to make the students active, we have to teach them or we have to let them speak and write instead of just letting them read and listen. Okay.
Okay.
Also, she discussed about the language-centered method, the learning-centered method, and the learner-centered method. Wow. And another one is we have to focus on what the students need in learning. And then assessment test must be critically planned according to the skills that we want to measure. Okay. Another is feedbacking is a very important factor in teaching. And we can only do and we can only gather feedback through informal assessments and formal assessment, the formative and summative assessments, the norm and criterion reference test that we are giving to our students. Okay, so again, thank you so much, Miss Attica, for your valuable time that you spared to us
You're
tonight.
welcome.
So please stay for a while, ma'am, because after the next part, which is the IGP quiz,
Okay.
we will still have the question and answer, so that our participants can directly ask you about their questions or their queries about the topics or
Okay.
the topic that was discussed. Okay, thank you so much,
Okay.
ma'am. Okay, so let us now proceed to our quiz competition. So we are encouraging all the participants tonight to open now your Slido application, or you can just click the link that is being sent on our comment box. Okay, so top 10 will be awarded with quiz competition completion certificates. Okay, once again, welcome to our IGP quiz. We are still waiting for the other participants to join the link. You can browse www.slido.com and then use the code all caps IGP quiz, or you can just click the link in the comment section and it will be and you will be directed to our quiz competition. Okay? So at this juncture we have 57 participants in our uh, quiz competition, and we're still waiting for the others to come in. Again, the IGP will be selecting top 10 participants, and these 10 participants who will win the competition will receive an e-certificate. Okay, so far we have 73 participants in our quiz competition. Okay, the names are already in the screen. You can see your names on the screen. Okay, you can go directly to this to the website www.slido.com, and then you can use the code all caps IGP quiz, or you can also find the link in our comment box or in our comment section. Okay, we already have 87 participants in our quiz competition. Okay, you can see your names on the screen. We are now 91. Again, top 10 scorers will receive an e-certificate. Okay, first question, foreign language and second language teaching look the same. Is it true or false? Okay, 72% and 28%. And there are 28% who got the correct answer. Okay, for the second question, classroom based assessment for English language teaching belong to fourth domain. Is it true or false? Okay, so there are 20% of the participants who get the correct answer. Let's see. Teach English as a foreign language is to provide the necessary skills to perform in teaching the English language. Is it true or false? Okay, the answer is true, and there are 88% of our participants who got the correct answer. Okay, the names are flashed on the screen. Next question. Learning a foreign language implies the knowledge of vocabulary and phonetic features, the manipulation of linguistic structures, learning how to communicate in the language effectively. All three answers are correct. Okay, there are 97% who got the correct answer. Okay, authorizes a teacher to teach in one specific subject area, such as English or a foreign language, special ed credential, single subject credential. Let us see. Oh, the correct answer is single subject credential. And there are 32% of our participants who got the correct answer. All English language learners are entitled to testing accommodation. Is it true or false? 'Okay, the correct answer is true, and there are 80% of the participants get the correct answer. Communicative competence is the final goal in the teaching English. Is it true or false? 86% got the correct answer. The answer is true. Let's proceed to the next. ELLs need English language and academic content needed to succeed. Is it true or false? The answer is true, and there are 96% of the participants got the correct answer. The two main reasons to learn a foreign language throughout primary education are sociological and cognitive, sociological and educational. Let us see what is the correct answer. Okay, the correct answer is sociological and educational, and there are 49% who got the correct answer. Let us see. Stages of language proficiency. Pre-production, this is the silent period. Early production students. Speech emergence, can communicate with sentences. All of the above. What do you think? Okay. The correct answer is all of the above, and there are 98% of our participants got the correct answer. Let's see who are on the top 10 list. Okay, so congratulations. Our on the number one spot, we have. Okay, let's see later on what is the updated. Okay, we already have the updated list of our winners. On the top one, we have Maggie Barbado. Number two, Naong Lathan. Number three, Maisel T. Araujo. Number four, we have Leia Leia Facunla. And number five, Rian Jun Calling. Number six, we have RK Dolshara Delmini Samarakudi. Number seven, Romel Hernandez. Number eight, Alex Javier Alvarez. Number nine, we have Janice E. Kachin. And number 10, we have Aurora C. Erhas. Okay, congratulations to our top 10 winners for our quiz competition. Congratulations. And for the non-winners, we still have a lot of sessions, upcoming webinars. You can just participate in our upcoming webinars and keep joining to our IGP quiz competition. It's very exciting, and at the same time, we are learning. Okay? So once again, congratulations. And we are now on the next part, which is all about the question and answer part of our tonight's webinar. So I am okay. Welcome back, Miss Attica. And
Hello.
okay, so welcome to our question and answer part. And we have now the first question coming from Feruz Akbarov. And we have the question: in Asian countries like the Philippines, India, Hong Kong, and Singapore, English is used as state language. However, Indians tend to speak English fairly well despite the accent than the other nations stated above. How can you explain this?
Okay, thank you for the question. Good evening, Mr. Veras Albro. How are you? I'm Atika. Greeting from Indonesia. So, thank you for your question. In my opinion, because yeah, Philippines, India, Hong Kong, and Singapore, they have so many. They have the same problem. They have the same case. In this case, is English as a second language for in their countries. So I think why Indian is special because they are the largest population in this world, right? So they make a community not only in Indian itself, but another India. You can meet Indian, so many Indian around the world. I think they are spread out in this world, in this nation, in this globe. So my my answer is just only because they are the biggest population in this world. So they are special and they speak very well despite their accent. As like they have their accent, of course now I think when I was a kid, when I was in the school, elementary school, there is no name as Indian accent, English in Indian accent, right? But now when I become bigger and bigger and I learn in college, there is Indian accent for English, right? That's why in my opinion, it is related to the culture, to the the first is biggest population first. They make a community, they make their own English maybe, or they make they make their community, and then they make English as their accent. Also my accent is very Indonesian, right? That's why maybe because why? Because Indonesians is also the fourth biggest population in this world. So it is related to the population. So you cannot separate it language uh with population, with cultures, with the some kind of society. You cannot separate it. If you have some kind of problem, or if you have some kind of question, try to relate each other. Oh, maybe because Indian is the biggest population, or maybe Indian is the biggest country, so they have a culture in English. That's my answer, sir. Thank you for your
Okay,
question. Thank you, Mr.
thank you so much.
Barrow.
Okay, so another question. We have, as an EFL and ESL English teacher, has your professional identity changed in any way during this time of virtual teaching?
Okay. Okay, it is just personal experience. So I just answer uh through my personal experience also because this is personal. Okay, thank you for your question, Miss Aigul Agbalayeva. Thank
Yeah,
you for
this
your
is
question.
from Aigul
Aigul.
Agbalayeva.
Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you for your question. Of course, when virtual teaching, so around maybe 18 in 2018, 2019, I'm on part-time. I was in college, and then I was a part-time job, a part-time English teacher. So I teach door to door, I teach school to school, I teach course to course offline. Well, after up to COVID-19 has come here, and then my professional identity, also my some kind of job decks also become changed. From the offline translator, maybe from offline interpreter or offline teacher, it is become online teacher provided. And then I teach every time at like 24 hours, just in front of my laptop to teach, and 24 hours just meeting meeting by meeting, working by working, something like that. Of course, it makes us change for the lesson plan, for the method. I mean not method, our instrument, but method. The method is still the same, but the instrument maybe. That's my answer. Thank you.
Okay, so I think every educator is adjusting, especially during this pandemic setting.
That's
Okay,
why.
we have another question coming from the same person,
Uh-uh.
Igor Agabalayeva. Okay, are you for or against code mixing or code switching by students, teachers in the ESL classroom?
Um, it depends on the learners. That's why I give you my explanation. That's why has explained in the previous time. I explained who you teach. You need to know who you teach. If it is children, it is workers, it is student, college students, or it is a mother. It is, yeah, you need to know. It depends on the learner. You need to face, you need to diagnosing, something like that. So it can be mixing or it can be switching. So in the first period or in the first session of your teaching, make sure that you always have a small talks to them. You always have some kind of discussion to them. Maybe you can ask by giving them a question, something like, what do you think about post COVID-19? It has it changed your life, something like that. So you can measure about their mind, about their thought, because as a scientist from Oxford University, a professor from Oxford University. I forgot the name, but I know from professor from Oxford University for linguistics. He stated that when you want to know the brain of a person, you need to listen the way they talk. Yeah, when you want to know the person, you need to listen the way they talk. And when you want to know the heart of the person, you want to know the heart of the person, you need to see, you need to look at their attitude. That's the relation between the language and the human, what is it, human abilities, if I'm not mistaken. That's my answer,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am, for addressing that question. Okay, we have another question from Abby to Miss Attica. How can students use the assessment as a learning tool and teachers use it as a support for learning?
Okay, thank you for your question, Miss or Mr. Abi. Yeah, thank you for your question. How can students use this assessment as a learning tool and teachers use it as support learning? As I have mentioned in the previous time, I don't suggest to all of you as educator informal assessment in informal, yeah, in informal assessment. Do not give your student, or do not give your student information that they are being judged, because if they know that they are being judged by you, they will not give their natural. Maybe they will just, yeah, beating their heart, and then they don't give the best. You cannot see their natural, actually. So if you want to assess them in informal tasks or informal assessment, sorry, in informal assessment, what you need to know is just let it flow. Just follow the situation. Or maybe in the middle of your teaching, you give your student, some kind of discussion, some kind of question, and then when they speak and when they give spread out their ideas, you can assess them through, so that you will have natural data, the natural value and score of them for informal tasks. I think this is related to informal tasks. Is it? Thank you. That's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, another question is from Manolita Ramas Oligo to Miss Attica. How does diverse multicultural school environment affect the way students' language affect how they perceive and feel about their real world?
Okay. First of all, thank you for Miss Maulita Raumas Oligo for the question. I think this is a very good question. First of all, we need to know which level or which student that we are facing. Is it elementary or children or kindergarten or even high school or college student? If it is English for kids, yeah, I construct become three. This is my miss myself, my myself. I construct the student or the learner become three of them. The first is English for kids. The second is the English for adolescents, for the young, for the younger, for a youth, sorry, for a youth, and then English for workers. How does diverse multicultural school environment affect the way student language affect how they perceive and feel about their real world? So I think in such kind of school, they maybe for the state school or the private school, they have different method. They have different, some kind of objectivity. If maybe for the example in Indonesia, there is a British International School in Jakarta. We have British International School. Their objectives uh is to some kind of to produce the student become more critical to the real world. So when you want to make sure that your children, or if you are a parents, when you want to make sure that your children are, when you want to make your children to be critical, just send to the school that they provide the goal for the daily for the critical student, something like that. It is different with the state student because sorry, a state school student, because if it's a state school student, they sometimes are connected with the education minister, so you need to uh, again and again up to date, you need to up to date with the policy of the government. If in Indonesia there is two categories. The first is state school and the second is private school. State school connected to the educational government or education ministry, education and culture ministry, and the private school depends on the school itself. That's my answer, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mamatika. Another question is from Jing Nomo. Is teaching English as a second language in India not that conscious in grammar? If yes, why?
I think every language has grammar. The point is, we just care about the grammar or we just care about the communication. Because in written, of course, in written, we need to really, really focus and take care of our grammatical rules. But if in communication, it's just okay when you want to have some kind of communication with Indian people, and then you understand and they understand what you say. Just it's just done. It's just done. So there is no there is no ungrammatical pattern in a language, because language are languages. Every language, not only English, every languages has their own grammar pattern. Even in bahasa Indonesia, of course, I'm sure that in Indian and Chinese maybe and Japanese maybe German, they have their own grammar. The point is the communication or in the grammar, in the written, something like that. So you need to decide.
Okay. Okay. So thank you
Mhm.
so much, Miss Atika Kumala Dewi from
Okay, thank you. You're
Indonesia.
welcome. You're
Thank
welcome.
you for your patience and for your very wonderful answers.
Thank you.
I am very sure that our participants really have learned relevant topics tonight. Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing, of course, your valuable time in IGP. Okay. So,
Thank
ladies and
you.
gentlemen, let us give a virtual applause to Miss Atika Kumala Dewi from Indonesia.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so let us now come to our announcements for the webinar series certificates. You have to attend all the parts of the series. You will get individual certificate for all each webinar, and after submitting all certificates, you will receive a webinar series certificate. Okay, okay. So thank you so much for our participants who actively participated in our IGP quiz and in staying with us from the start up to the end of our session for tonight. Okay. So before we end our session for tonight, let me share to you some of the important notes. Okay, the narration that we have. Okay, do not let this pandemic hinder your success to
Hello.
grow. Never allow it to stop you from achieving your dreams in life.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Sir, just wait a minute. Give me a
Yeah.
minute. I'll be back with the certification process.
Okay, sir. Okay, so let us wait for the announcement on the certification process because we are already in the part 4 of our webinar series part 2. Okay, so to while waiting, thank you so much to our dear participants, and uh, we have a lot more of webinar series. So the announcement will be all about how are you going to claim your e-certificate and how are you going to uh, get the certificate, another certificate for attending that webinar series, because we have individual certificate for every session and we have another one certificate for attending these sessions. So it will be reflected there, the webinar series that you have attended. We're still waiting for the announcements. And also, we still have a lot more of webinars coming this month of November and December. So, for our participants, just keep uh, staying with us in every webinar session and then download your e-certificate because in the future you can use it in your professional development. And also, we have uh, speakers and trainers invited by the IGP just to be with us in every webinar session. Okay, so let us start from the daily certificate details. We have lifetime membership certificate, only one in every session. Quiz completion certificates, only 10, which is the top 10 in every session. We have free international webinar certificates for all active participants. And we have to take note that there is no relation between quiz completion certificate and international webinar certificates and webinar series certificates. Quiz certificates for top 10 quiz competition winners, international webinar certificates for all active participants. Okay. Another announcement, we have a free international webinar daily, and that is fixed at every 6 p.m. Bangladesh Standard Time. Okay. So you have to check the Bangladesh Standard Time because we have different time zones in every country. Double bonus with regular webinar. Along with our regular webinars, we have also added webinars on every weekend, Sunday morning in the month of October. October morning session date, October 24 and October 31. That is 9:30 a.m. Bangladesh Standard Time. The triple bonus, starting from October, we have webinar series program. You will get individual certificate for each webinar, and after submitting all certificates, you will receive a webinar series certificate. Highly focused teaching strategies, research, assessment, pedagogy, tools and techniques, professional development, communication skills. Our first webinar series program is composed of which is composed of 5 parts webinar series. Topic is all about authentic assessment in teaching and learning, and the last part of that will be on October 26, part 5. Okay. Our second webinar series program, which is composed of four parts, is all about teaching English as foreign language and assessment. And we have just finished the part 4 tonight. Okay? So part 1 was last October 2, October 6, October 20, and tonight was the part 4. Our third webinar series program, which is composed of 6 parts, is all about digital classroom engagement tools. Part 1 was on October 11, Part 2 October 12, Part 3 December 3, Part 4 December 5, Part 5 December 10, and Part 6 is on December 18. Our fourth webinar series program, which is composed of 5 parts, which is all about the new trends in education. Part 1 will be on November 1, Part 2 on November 7, Part 3 on November 12, Part 4 on November 20, and Part 5 on November 28. So let's take note of those dates on the month of November. Our fifth webinar series program, five-part webinar series. The topic is all about organizational leadership and managerial skills. Part 1 on November 8, Part 2 on November 15, Part 3 on November 22, Part 4 on November 25, and Part 5 on November 30. Our sixth webinar series program, which is composed of 5 parts, is all about trends and innovation in mathematics education. I will wait for this. Part 1 is on December 12, Part 2 is on December 13, Part 3 is on December 14, Part 4 on December 15, and Part 5 on December 16. Okay. Reserve your date and time on that particular dates. Okay. So webinar series certificates. For webinar series certificate, you have to attend all the parts of the series. Okay. So for the certification process, we have the step by step. Okay. So by the way, we are okay. Another announcement is today is the last part of webinar series 2, which is all about teaching English as a foreign language and assessment. So since it is the last part, You will get individual certificate for each webinar, and after submitting all certificates, you will receive a webinar series certificate. Okay. So we have 4 sessions for this webinar series. So all you have to do is to complete those certificates to every session. Okay. So another announcement is for webinar series certificate, please submit the form given below. So we have the link, okay, webinar series 2, teaching English as a foreign language and assessment. So for webinar series certificate, please submit the form which given on our website homepage. Okay, you can visit our homepage, which is on the screen. You can see webinar series 2, teaching English as a foreign language and assessment. Okay. So for webinar series certificate, please submit the form given below. Okay. Of course, we have our website, www.eduigp.com. Again, for webinar series certificate, please submit the form which given on our website homepage. Okay, just look at the arrow. Okay, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally. So it is important that you have an account for you to gain the benefits that IGP is offering. You can join our all live programs from Facebook page, Facebook group, YouTube channel, and website. If anyone missed any program due to some unavoidable issues, still you can get or attend previous webinars with verified certificates. Again, without an account on our website, you can visit, but you cannot do anything functionally. Today's certification process, October 24, which is entitled Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment Part 4. So you have to look for that program, name of the program. Okay, step 2 is you have to click the certification link, which is available on the comment box and pinned comment. Certification link will be available always in this program post, in the Facebook page, Facebook group, and YouTube description. Okay, so take note that without an account on our website, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally. You can claim your certificate in 2 ways. Number 1, direct link from the comment box, pin comment, or post description. If you are not able to click this link, please directly browse www.eduigp.com for all information together. Then find today's program, and the process are the same. Okay, so you can go to the link or you can browse our website www.eduigp.com. Okay, we're still waiting for another announcement. Again, we are inviting all our participants to please have an account in our website so that you can be able to enjoy the benefits that IGP is offering. Okay, let us proceed to the step 3 in certification process. You can browse www.eduigp.com, or you can click the given link, and you will be redirected in this page of our website as what you can see on the screen. You can click enroll now, and then you can look for the YouTube link, because in that link you can see the code for every session. If you are new, create your account. If you have an account already, then log in directly. After that, find the seminar title and get enrolled. Okay, that's what you're seeing on the screen. Without an account on our website, you can visit, but you can't do anything functionally because it is exclusive only for those members of IGP. Okay, so the most awaited part of our session for tonight is the code of this session. So you can now take the screenshot or you can write down the code, which is all caps IGP 7273. The program name is Teaching English as a Foreign Language and Assessment Part 4. Always remember that without this code, no one is eligible for any certificate. Okay? So without this code, no one is eligible for any certificate. So you can now take the screenshot or you can take it down in a piece of paper and keep it so that you can be able to download the certificate at any time you want. Okay, with code, click get your certificate, and then all you have to do is to key in IGP 7273. Okay, from Farila Rizahi, got mine, thanks IGP. Wow, congratulations for having your certificate in this session. And of course, for the step 6, you can now download your certificate. Okay, wow. Another participant is flashing on the screen. Thank you, IGP. Got mine. Wow, congratulations. Our free international webinar certificate is auto downloadable in PDF file. You don't need to download it manually. From Tess Rivera, thank you, IGP. Got mine. Congratulations, mom, for having your certificate. Dear participants, if any problem raised to claim your certificate or any other issues, please don't be hesitate to contact us. Our core team members are always ready in comment section to support you to find solutions. Okay. Another participant message. Thank you so much, IGP. I got mine too. Wow, congratulations. From Rosalie Cabasag. They already have downloaded their e-certificate. Okay, so we have the Facebook page, core team members, the Facebook group team members, Sherilyn Yamaguchi, Jonas Malingin, and Alonso Warren Cariaga. On the YouTube channel, core team members, Calvin Linatok, Joel Danoog, and Jeffrey Sayag. Okay, for the upcoming webinar, we have on October 25, 2021. The title is all about the process to be a TVET trainer. And we have a speaker from the Philippines, Ronel S. de Guzman. Another webinar on October 26, 2021, Authentic Assessment in Teaching and Learning Part 5. And we have two speakers from Indonesia. Upcoming webinar, all about innovative ways to teach research in distance learning. We have speakers from the Philippines. That will be on October 27. On October 28 is all about international political economy, and we have one speaker from the Philippines. On October 29, 2021, we have work-life balance professionally, and we have a speaker from the Philippines also. Okay, different teaching modality, and will be discussed on October 30, 2021, and we have two speakers from India. Women on the Web, a study of women on YouTube, on October 31, 2021, and it will be on the morning session. at 9:30 a.m. And we have a speaker from India. Okay, another webinar entitled Gamification, the Future of Distance Learning. And that will be on October 31, 2021, with a speaker coming from the Philippines. Okay, once again, we have the code for today's program. The code is all caps IGP 7273. You can now take the screenshot or you can take it down in a piece of paper so that you can be able to download your certificate at any time you want. Or you may also go directly to our website and look for the YouTube channel for you to watch again the video and look for the code. Okay, so thank you so much to our dear participants for actively participating in our IGP quiz and in our question and answer portion. And before we end our session for tonight, let me have this short reflection. Do not let this pandemic hinder your success to grow. Never allow it to stop you from achieving your dreams in life. Instead, let us look at the positive side and think of how we can be able to adjust and adapt with the changes brought by this pandemic. Remember that it is through pandemic that we were not able to interact physically, but it is also through this pandemic that we were able to learn how to utilize different learning platforms to connect and communicate with great people in the whole world by having webinars like this for free. And of course, it is through the IGP. So there are many things to be thankful for. Thank you, everyone, and thank you so much, IGP. We hope to see you all again in the upcoming webinar. Stay safe, stay happy. Once again, from Auckland, Philippines, I am your host, Mr. Rian Junpi Qualing, signing off.